Jake here in what is the first of my pandemic series of cooking instructional videos. So I will start by saying that when you cook, you should have something to drink. Today's drink is brought to us by our good friend Mara, who brought me a McKellar Taxi Hop a Cab. This is an India Pale Ale, approximately 6% alcohol per volume. And I'm trying to find where it's... Oh, it's McKellar Brewing in Citi Field, Flushing, New York. So thank you, Mara, for your contribution to today's cooking adventure. I was given a request by Marie Hasselbeck Costa to... Sounds hilarious. Oh, people are going to give me guff on this pour. Requested an instruction on a poutine recipe. And I could get all sorts of fancy and go extravagant and make things as complicated as necessary, but I didn't want to do that. I wanted to keep things simple. I wanted to show just about everybody how they can make some variation of poutine at home. And again, the purists will be mad, but this is something that there's a lot of leeway on. There are a couple key ingredients that you need, and then there's freedom otherwise. So what we're going to do is start with the French fries. I chose a seasoned waffle cut because we're in quarantine and god damn it, I want some waffle cut fries. So we're going to preheat the oven to 425 via the instruction on the bag. Again, because it's easy. So preheat your oven, let that warm up. In the meantime, we'll grab a pan. I'm using an old pizza pan, and I'm going to just grease it up so the fries don't stick. You could use a Pam, you could use a vegetable oil. I like Crisco or vegetable shortening. Olive. A very important part of the cooking process, I'm sure. Thank you, Lindsay. I will just spread these out evenly. They smell awesome. I'm very excited already. And once the oven is hot, we'll pop this in, we'll let that cook, and I'll come back and show you what I'm doing the rest of the way. Alright, timer beeped, or the temperature chime beeped. So I'm going to put this in the oven now. According to the package, it says to let a whole bag cook for 30 minutes. So we're going to let that do its thing. Now, again, I'm deciding to bake it just because it's easy. It's something that just about everyone can do. Now, if you want to fry it up, there are several ways to do that. Some people have like personal deep fryers at home. Get the oil to about 375 degrees, put them in the basket, fry them up probably 2 minutes, 3 minutes, until they're a good crispness, and then let those just sit there. But if you've got a deep fryer at home, you probably don't have to I don't have to tell you how to fry fries. But there are options. I'm doing this just to be easy. So we'll come back and I'll show you what the next step is. Okay, Lindsay's chopping something else over here, so I'm going to take over. It's about halfway through our cooking time, so I'm going to just pull this out and give it a little bit of a stir. Just to kind of flip it up and make sure that it's cooking evenly, or the best that I can, crisping up. This is a very scientific method. Holding a phone in one hand, giving it a stir with a plastic spoon. There we go. Oh, geez, we lost one. It's all right. That's why we have dogs. Hold on. Wait a second. You're going to burn your nose. All right. Now, again, I'm using an old pizza pan, but for goodness sakes, if you have a cookie sheet or something like that, use that. It's fine. And we'll come back in 15 minutes, and I will show you what's next. Good girl. It's hot. Easy. Easy. Good girl. Yeah, it's hot. Give it a second. Blow on it. Blow on it. So, Mara, this beer is delicious. Thank you. Okay, so now we're going to start. We've got about 5 minutes left or so, a little bit longer, on the French fries. But we're going to start on probably the most complicated part of it is the gravy. But I'm trying to make this as easy as possible. So, I went to local market, Dash's, and they had this cute little kettle and fire bone broth. It's beef bone broth, but this will work with any kind of broth. If you want to use a chicken broth, if you want to use a vegetable broth, I imagine it would still work with that too. So this just happens to be a little over 16 ounces, which is about 2 cups, which is exactly what we want for this particular recipe. So I'm just going to open this up. There we go. And dump this into this guy. I'm probably going to need a bigger pan. I'm going to need a bigger pan. Oh, watch out. So next, I'm going to put in about 4 teaspoons of butter. So probably about that. Boop. And you'll notice that I don't have the oven on yet, or the stove rather, because this next ingredient I'm using is for my keto friends or my gluten-sensitive friends. I'm going to use xanthan gum to thicken this. You can use cornstarch, you could use flour, but this is a good way to thicken. And I'm putting about a teaspoon in there. And when you're using this, you want to add it to the liquid when it's cold. And then as it heats up, whisk it, and that will allow it to thicken up. And then I'm just going to put in a little bit of garlic powder, a little bit of onion powder, and salt and pepper as much as you see fit. I'm not going to add a lot of salt because I use a salted butter, and the bone broth itself is pretty salty, and the French fries are pretty salty as well. So I'm going to go pretty light on that. So I'm just going to add a little bit of pepper. And just a sprinkle of salt. And then we can turn this on. I'm going for about a medium-high. And this should take about 5 minutes to whisk up. And this is a constant motion. So when you're thickening gravy, whether you're using xanthan gum or cornstarch or flour, whatever you decide to use, it's that constant whisk motion that's going to thicken it up. So we'll do this for about 4 minutes while the butter melts and we get good heat to the whole thing. And that's the most complicated part that we have here for poutine. Poutine is 3 ingredients. It's French fries, it's cheese curd, which is very important, and it's a gravy. And you're going to have many different people tell you what gravy is best and what gravy is appropriate. And it's all a matter of choice, just like the fries. So whatever works for you is going to be just fine. Stay tuned. Hey friends, so come on over. What we have here, it's starting to smoke a little bit, so I'm actually going to take it off the heat. And we've got a nice, thick gravy here. I've been stirring it for a little less than 5 minutes, probably about 3 or 4 minutes. And it's a pretty good consistency. It turns out just about perfect here. I don't know if you can see that. But our fries are probably about done too. So I'm gonna kill the oven, pull these out here. Oh yeah, these look perfect. Now, what we got here is just a big shared container because we're gonna do this lazy style. And scoop these all right into your favorite serving container. And like I said, poutine is 3 ingredients. So I showed you the fries, I've showed you the gravy, and for the cheese curd, I got some Yancey's Fancy buffalo wing cheddar curd, which, again, the loyalists are going to give me guff, but I don't care. I'm dropping stuff. So we're going to put this right up on top, where it's most likely to be visually appealing. Or to use both, because you know what? Quarantine. Put that all in there. And then we're going to use the gravy itself to melt the curd. So we're going to go ahead and pour this right on because we have nobody to impress right now. Probably going to use a lot of it. And don't stir it. Don't fuss with it. Just pour that on and let it do its thing. I guarantee you, in about a minute, if that, we're gonna finish this off here. We're just gonna go for it. All that cheese curd should melt into a beautiful, stringy, cheesy, delicious concoction. And we'll give it a try. Okay, friends. At this point, you're probably gonna need a refill on whatever beverage you choose. And now I'm gonna pass off a fork to my assistant, Lindsay. And we're both going to dig in here. It smells amazing. I hope you can smell that. So the Yancey's Fancy doesn't melt as much as I would have hoped, but it's still pretty melty. Cheers. You guys, if you want to know how to make poutine, I highly recommend this. Yancey's Fancy adds a bite. The gravy's delicious. The fries are delicious. I'm a very happy person. I'm going to go sit down and put myself into a food coma. Good night.